Hey everyone, it's Shaul. Happy Pride, and welcome back to part 4 of the Torn Script Showcased series. As always, be sure to check out parts 1 through 3 for an already awesome list of over 150 scripts. The link to this forum post and the master list is going to be in the description. And if you'd like to sign up and play Torn, you can scan this QR code to mark me as your referrer, and we will both get bonuses for playing. And if you've already have an account and you don't have me as your referrer and you'd like to have me as your referrer, go ahead and shoot me a message in game and I'll help you get set up. Also, same as before, if you see anything on the screen that I don't mention, it's probably a script from a previous video. So once again, go ahead and check out parts 1 through 3. By the way, the background effect is provided by this script, RGB Torn. The Pride Day, this is just a Torn event holiday, but the background rainbow is from RGB Torn. Before we get started, I want to do sort of a callback or a mention to a previous episode. So for those of you that remember Torn Tools, you might know that they are a browser extension that is effectively a bunch of scripts compiled into one. But because it is a Chrome extension, it's not accessible to users on mobile or not using Chrome or Firefox. You don't have access to Torn Tools. So the developers have made a really cool decision to basically deconstruct Torn Tools from itself and turn all the features into individual user scripts. So if you can't use Torn Tools, or there's only one specific feature that you really like and you don't really care for the rest of them, using this list, and they're constantly adding more and more features that are already coming from Torn Tools, you can pick and choose the features of Torn Tools to use. And with that out of the way, we can get to the item scripts, with our first one being a loadout switcher. So Torn already lets you have pre-configured loadouts, but this just moves the buttons to be up here. That way it's not 2 clicks, it's just 1. I've already showed off a couple of these types of scripts already. This one is called RW Mod Text Everywhere, and it does the same as those other ones. It just shows you the percentage of the bonuses on the actual item itself. That way it's a little bit easier to read and find versus hovering over it. Next up, we have the Bazaar Hunter. This is a website where you paste your API key and log in, and you can monitor specific people's bazaars. It's failing too many requests because this API key is already being used by another thing, but the data would show up here. Next up is another sort of item market thing. This one is called torn.busymore.dev. Same as before, you log in with your API key here. You can choose to share your API key with the website. That way you can aggregate data about bazaars. But once you're in here, you have all these types of sorting mechanisms here. And I guess there are no weapons on the auction house. That's definitely not true. Okay, here we go. Here are some weapons on the bazaar. It's a lot better and a lot easier to browse this than going site by site through the bazaar. Next, into what I'm going to call the attacking section now. And for those of you who use FF Scouter or Torn War Stuff, there are new betas by the developer Syntax for a V2 beta and a War Stuff enhanced beta, including things like, of course, better CPU usage, flight tracking with FF Scouter Premium, and of course, the classic arrows and battle stat score estimates. And speaking of battle stat estimates, there is another predictor app, funnily enough, called Battle Stats Predictor, and it works effectively the same as FF Scouter. It uses player aggregated data to predict a player's battle stats and puts it in a nice bold number. This next script is FF in chat, which, as you can see, shows people's fair fight score in the chat right next to them. Here we have a bounty hunter script. This script adds this little menu down here that scans the bounty page for people who are within your parameters. So minimum reward, whether or not they're about to be out of the hospital, and a specific fair fight rating. You might see the toasts come up if you haven't seen them already, but they show up like this. It just gives you a quick little attack button that takes you directly to the attack. This right here is the cat script. This is a warring script. So it does the things that other war scripts do, like showing battle stats, score, statuses, having instant attack buttons. But the cat script lets you make calls. So whenever you click on a specific player, everyone else in your faction who's assumingly also using the script will see that you've marked that player as your target, and they won't take your target if you have them marked. Something to mention, this script has a Chrome and Firefox extension version, as well as just a regular user script. If you use either of these platforms or don't, you still have access to it. Next, we got TCAT, which is a torn chain alerter. This one's a little bit more about chain watching versus overall warring, but you can build out a entire chain list using your war targets. This next one is called HOSME. It's not called that. I call it that because that's the name of the button. But anyways, consider this sort of the opposite of the Revive Me script. So if you need to be hospitalized for any reason, you can click this button and it'll open up this form here to fill out, and you will be hit and hospitalized by the 1L Merc service. Now, these next three I'm going to dedicate to the faction leaders, with this first one being TC Arma Sync. This is a war payout manager and war tracker for faction leaders. Debriefing is a website here that offers a chain report, exportable chain report. And lastly, we have a fully automated payout system, and that payout looks like this. The next section is going to be all the activity HUDs, with this first one, Travel Agency 3D. And this one just adds a 3D globe to the travel agency screen. I guess the world is not flat. Coming up next, we got Ops Check, which is just a checklist. Here it is. You can create your own categories and have check marks for things that you need to do. It'll even take you to the page whenever you click on it. This one's called Torn Foreign Stock, and it just shows you the current stock of items abroad on the traveling page. So as you can see updated just now, you can sort by country and you can see the active prices and how many are in stock at every location. This heads-up display is a crime item hub, which shows up on the crimes here in the corner, and you can go to each crime and you can see what results can come from the crime and where you can get these items. For an example, bank statement is a material. It's found in all these different crimes and it's used in forgery. Or blank DVDs is found in all of these crimes and it's used in bootlegging. Funnily enough, our next script is also called Crimes Hub, but I'll just call it OC Crime Hub. This page, it just shows you all the OCs and the flow charts for the success rates. So you can follow along and see whether or not your failure can influence a full crime failure, or if it doesn't really matter, you can continue. Next up, we've got a bookie predictor. I'm a little late to show you guys this one because of the World Cup, but basically this gives you much more in-depth stats on any particular match that's on the bookie. This one is called CTE, or Custom Torn Events. And after installing it and inputting your API key, you basically just get a better clock up here with what the next holiday is going to be. You can get your virus in there if you want the virus. And you can also create custom events and share them to other users of this script, and they will get a countdown to your custom event in their timer. This one is pretty self-explanatory. It's hide crime outcomes, which does what it says and hides the flavor text with crime outcomes. If you come up here, you have a couple different options for how you want to display. If you want to hide it entirely, you want to disable the script, have a toast, or just have the regular minimal version. Here we have an addiction, watch, and rehab timer, which comes up with this little modal out here. I just did a happy jump, so my addiction is pretty high right now, and it's telling me I should probably go in rehab before I get kicked from my company. This one is Merit Hunter Plus, which shows on the awards page, merits, honors, and medals page, what you're close to. So things you can get right now, things are almost there, things that you could do and start tracking. Super useful if you really love to hunt merits. This one doesn't really have a name, but I'm going to call it Torn Per Day, which adds this graph to your personal stats page, and you can pick which stat you want to track, and it'll show you basically a rolling average of that stat. And coming down to the last section of quality life / miscellaneous script, in this category, we have first up Aqua Tools, which again is like those other comprehensive tool scripts. So like Torn Tools or Retorn, which has a bunch of different modules that you can enable or disable at your leisure. So if you're looking for something that's not so intensive as Torn Tools or Return, Aqua Tools might be a good alternative for you. What we have here is a chat locking script. And what this script does is if you have multiple windows of Torn open, if you click and hold on a chat, it'll turn orange and it'll lock the chat exclusively to that torn window. So now I can't open the chat on any new torn window. If I want to see the chat, I have to go back to the one where I pinned it. Here we've got a changing room, where here you can literally just play Barbie doll with your torn character and look through all the clothes and see how they would look on your character. This next one is going to be for the developers out there. It's a torn API Python wrapper. There's nothing really I can show you about this one, but if you know what that means, you will know why that's very useful. If you use AI agents to code for you, this torn CLI is actually pretty cool and useful. If you've ever used something like OpenClaw or Hermes agent, this torn CLI is effectively a skill for those agents that lets them interface with torn and use your API key to pull and retrieve data for you. Next up, we've got a player chat remover, which adds this X button here to block people from the chat, so you won't see their messages anymore. Sorry for those of you who I'm just randomly blocking in the global chat, but I probably will never talk to you. This one is very useful and pretty simple as well. It lets you search forums by user. And as you can see, real easy. All it does is just add another search box that you can search by user through the forums. The script, again, is also pretty simple. It just hides the leave faction button. It just gets rid of the leave faction button, so you're not tempted to click it or you don't click it accidentally. Even if you do click it accidentally, there is a confirmation prompt, but still, I'm not trying to leave my faction, so I don't really need to see that button there. Here we have the color customizer. This script I'm iffy on because it's in response to a recent change. So these buttons used to be green, but now they're blue, and people were mad about that, so I decided to make a script to change it back to green. And this one, I think there was like 4 or 5 that were made that did that, but this one lets you change it to any color you want. So that's why I'm going to highlight this one here. But if you ask me, I'm kind of liking the blue. I'm kind of liking the new blue. This script is for home assistant integration, sort of like the AI agent that I showed before, because you can add some home automations. So like, for example, flashing the lights when you're low on life, or turning the fan on when you're in a specific location. Basically interface the Torn API with your Internet of Things, smart home stuff, and have some fun. Larger chain timer, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. It just makes the chain timer huge so you don't miss it. And then finally, we've got the Torn tactical clock. And all this does is just adds this little floating clock button with the time zones that you're currently in, your local time zone, the Torn time in 12-hour and 24-hour format. And this is draggable to wherever you need it to be. And that's it. I want to thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed. If you have any scripts that I missed or have any ideas for scripts, drop them down in the comments. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. And happy Pride. Bye.